Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda, and this week I am making a topsy-turvy cake. I feel like this is necessary. Please subscribe to How to Cake It and make sure you hit the notification bell. Jocelyn, you can no, you're singing the wrong. No.
Oh yeah, you can. Got it. Okay, ready? Do it again.
You can ring my bell, ring my bell. No, use a better sound than that. Orhan, something. Church bells, something good. To make this topsy-turvy cake, I baked 16 pounds of my ultimate vanilla cake. Once my cakes were out of their pans, I leveled them and removed the caramelization from the bottom. I folded some red sprinkles into some of my batter and green sprinkles into the rest of my batter, giving me like a really, I don't even know how to describe it.
I was gonna say, how are you gonna...
It was like a sprinkly effect. Look, this is the description.
Orhan, please put sprinkles on the screen.
The cakes were like this. You can see now how the sprinkles have kind of melted and blended into the cake. I'm now gonna cut all 8 of my cakes in half horizontally to give me 16 layers of cake. Now I'm gonna take one of my 9-inch layers of cake and cut it down to be 7 inches round. I did that so you wouldn't have to bake a whole bunch of extra cake and then eat it, which is not that bad. So if you wanna go that route, you can. Now I'm left with 5 9-inch cake layers, 5 7-inch cake layers, and 6 5-inch cake layers.
Woo!
All of my layers need to be simple syruped. Sir Squeeze, get in here. I don't talk to him like that. I'm much nicer to him.
Mm-hmm.
What has he told you, Jocelyn?
My lips are sealed.
He doesn't talk to you, he only talks to me.
Mm-hmm.
Jocelyn, let's take this up. Jeremy, hold my earrings.
Oh, what was that?
She's fine. You can hear her still laughing. She laughed the whole time. It's time to fill my cakes, and for these cakes, I'm going to alter the layers with chocolate ganache and chocolate buttercream. I know. Ring the bell. Ring that notification bell. Because this cake is tiered, or going to be tiered, you'll need to fill them on top of a cake board, and you want each board to be an inch smaller than your actual cake. I fill and stack my cake layers as 3 separate cakes, one that will be 9 inches round, one that will be 7 inches round, and one that will be 5 inches round. I fill my cakes by alternating the colors of the cakes and the fillings. Make sure when you're done filling your cakes, you put them in the fridge to chill. Don't forget, you can get both my chocolate ganache and my chocolate buttercream recipe at howtocakeit.com, your holiday baking headquarters. You're gonna be left with 1 extra 5-inch layer of cake. You can do with that whatever you wish. What'd I do with mine again? Now that my cakes are chilled and the filling is set, it's time to carve these into the topsy-turvy shape. You want to start at the top of one side of your cake and angle downward about 1 inch so that the other side of your cake is just 1 inch lower than this side. Now it's time to trim the sides, to remove the caramelization and also to taper them in and make them more topsy and turvy. I'm not sure which part is the top. I guess this is the topsy and this is the turvy, right?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay. Now you're going to realize why our cake boards underneath are 1 inch smaller. Because when you carve these cakes, you're going to start from the top outer edge and cut down to the edge of the cake board. And now your cake is turvy. Girl, you're looking turvy. Now, Jocelyn, I crumb coat and chill. Yeah. You can ring my bell, ring my bell. Jeremy, you're still not singing? Ring-a-ling-a-ling.
I like this song.
What was that? Oh, it was the fluff from this gorgeous hat.
What happens next?
I can't even believe you're asking me this, Jocelyn. This is a test. What happens after crumb coating and chilling?
Oh, we ice again.
And?
Chill.
Again. Very good, Jocelyn. You can stay. It's time to cover all of my cakes using my color palette of fondant, which is red, white, and green. I wonder what inspired me. For each cake, I roll up my fondant so that it's large enough to cover the entire thing. Roll it up onto a French rolling pin, drape it over the cake. Because the cake is turvy, it's sort of harder to smooth around the sides because you get a lot more pleats and folds. So take your time, but make sure it's secured to the top edge as fast as you can. As I cover each cake, I trim away the excess fondant from the bottom and then I pop them in the fridge to chill. While my cakes are in the fridge, I'm going to take this opportunity to roll out a sheet of white, green, and red fondant that I will use to cut out my decorations. For my smallest white tier, I'm going to cut out some tapered or turvy red stripes and some green stripes using a strip cutter. For my biggest red tier of cake, I'm going to cut out some random circles using circle cutters out of white fondant and then some random circles out of green fondant using 2 different size piping tips. I also cut out some thicker white stripes that will become part of a bow I'm making on the red tier. I didn't forget about the green tier. I'm just not cutting anything out for it right now. Is the green tier worried? Is it in the fridge like, what about me?
You'll never know because cakes can't talk, Yolanda.
What are you talking about? They talk to me all the time. All the time. Now that all of my fondant decorations are cut, I can start cake decorating, which is my job. To begin, I'm going to decorate the little white cake. I'm placing my tapered red stripes all around the cake, but I'm switching the direction. So thick at the top, then thick at the bottom, then thick at the top, then thick at the bottom, then thick at the top, then thick at the bottom. Get it? And then I add in my green stripe beside each tapered red stripe, leaving a white space between. I actually use like a chopstick to help me measure. Once all of my stripes were on, I trimmed away the excess from the bottom as well as the top. For other great holiday baking ideas, don't forget to download my Holiday Baking Hacks ebook at howtocake.com. The desserts in my ebook do not take as many hours as this topsy-turvy cake took. Before I continue decorating, I'm actually going to take the time to tier this cake. Normally I do this at the end, but in this case it's really going to help with the decorations I have in mind. This cake is going to need dowels in order to be tiered so that it doesn't eventually collapse. I like to place the dowels into my cake in a circular formation, mark where they need to be cut, and trim them as I go. I also like to put a dab of royal icing in the middle of that circle formation just to help stick the next tier on top. My 3 cakes are tiered, I'm going to place a dowel through the entire center. This is especially important on a topsy-turvy cake. Oh, and another important tip, ring the bell. You don't want all of your topsies to be facing the same way because then you're going to get a cake that's like, you know what I mean? You don't want that. Back to decorating. Now I'm going to decorate the red tier. So I'm going to add the white fondant stripes to my red cake vertically, and they're sort of crisscrossing across the cake, the way that ribbon would do if you wrapped it around a gift. I'm going to add my white and green polka dots. I'm using a little bit of water brush on the back to adhere it to my cake, and I'm just making a random, fun polka dot pattern. Before adding my bow loops, I add 2 more white fondant stripes that I cut on an angle at the bottom. I want them to look like the tails of the bow, so I didn't add them just straight down the cake. I want them to have movement. If you want to see how I made my gum paste bow loops, you can watch my Mother's Day box of chocolate video. I made them in the exact same way, days ahead, and let them dry. Bing! That was just me hitting the notification bell. You hit it, Jocelyn? Are you even subscribed? Jeremy, are you subscribed?
Yeah.
That was mighty fast. I think you lied. You know what? I've ignored my middle tier way too long. I need to make some Christmas lights. To make my Christmas lights, I'm going to roll some white fondant into equal sized tubes. Then I'm going to use a ruler and a sharp knife to cut equal lengths of those tubes. And now I'm going to pick up each piece of white fondant, roll it into a ball between my palms, and pinch one end to make a little teardrop light bulb. Now do this 56 more times. Ring the bell! Now we need a string to hold all of these lights together. What I'm gonna do is take a little bit of my leftover green fondant and dye it just a tad bit darker so that it sticks out from the green on the cake. I've created several long tubes of green fondant that I'm gonna apply to my cake with a bit of water. I don't want it to look perfect, so I just took the... I know! Who am I? Just looking like, you know, Christmas lights falling down over the green tier. Before attaching my lights to the string, they need a little bit of a base, so I'm taking the rest of my darker green fondant, rolling it out and cutting circles with a round piping tip. I attach the round green fondant pieces to the base of each light bulb. This is a fun fact, okay? Whenever I attach something heavy to a cake, one option is obviously like a toothpick, but toothpicks aren't edible. Maybe you're into that, but I'm not. So I used pieces of raw spaghetti. I insert a piece of raw spaghetti halfway into each little light bulb, and then I insert that light bulb into the cake. It's finally time to decorate the very top of this cake, and I want it to look like an overflowing cup of hot chocolate. I'm going to take some chocolate fondant, roll it out into a circle that's bigger than the top of my cake, and then use a sharp knife to make it look, what do I call this? Scalloped.
What?
It's kind of scalloped, but not evenly.
Yeah, so it's not scalloped.
Like it's wibbly wobbly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Then I take that wibbly wobbly chocolate fondant and drape it over my top tier of cake, securing the wibbly wobblies a little bit down the side. If you are looking for really clear instructions on cake decorating with true cake decorating terminology, you have come to the wrong place, but still ring the bell. Orhan, footage. This cup of hot chocolate is in need of a handle. I made this handle ahead of time and let it dry. If you want to see how I made a gum paste handle, take a look at my teapot cake video. There's a link in the description below. The wires that are left extending out of either side of the handle get inserted right into the cake, and then I use some royal icing to patch any space left between the fondant on the cake and the gum paste handle. No cup of hot chocolate is complete without marshmallows and chocolate shavings. I'm adding real marshmallows to the top of my cake, securing them with a little bit of royal icing, and also raw spaghetti once again so I can get them to be nice and high. And then for my chocolate curls, I just rolled out some more of my chocolate fondant nice and thin, cut out some triangular shapes and rolled them up with my fingertip to look like chocolate curls. These are like chocolate fondant curls.
Oh my God.
They're much messier though. I really feel that this topsy-turvy cake needs a little something more. So I made a bunch of notification bells to go around the bottom. To make my notification bells, I rolled equal size balls that are made out of yellow dyed gum paste. Then I used the back of my knife, you can also use a ruler, to make a crisscross indent in each ball. And then I used a pointed sculpting tool to further accentuate the end of each indent and make it look a little bit circular. Just like a notification bell looks. Some people call them jingle bells, but these are notification bells. I let these bells dry slightly and made some gold paint by adding food grade alcohol to my gold luster and recoating them. Once your notification bells are dry, add them around the base of the entire cake. And every time I added a notification bell, my cake dinged. Ding, 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 ding. Representing every one of you hitting the notification bell. This is great. We really didn't plan this, and it's working out so well. Now, I normally like to take a big gulp of my hot chocolate, but today I'm gonna cut into it.
Okay.
Aren't you gonna say something like, ooh? Nothing, Jocelyn?
Do you want to say it again and I'll say it?
No, I don't want you to fake it.
Okay. Cause my cakes are
Too sprinklicious for you, babe. Jocelyn, can you handle it?
Woo.
Jeremy, can you handle it? Yo-yos, can you handle it? I don't think they can handle it.
Okay.
I'm not singing in 2007.